To echo the message so far, humanity has been in motion since we've known it. Some people leave to seek new opportunities. Some people flee their countries of origin because of persecution, the war, the hunger, and poverty. But for many, it's a number of factors that make them leave their countries. The UN estimates that there are up to 33,000 people who leave their countries of origin in search of their basic and fundamental human rights. Their rights to life, their rights to peace, and their rights to asylum. And amongst them, the most vulnerables, like women, children, and the elderly, they continue to lose their lives crossing the sea or the various borders we put in front of them, such as the political, social, economical, and the rest of the physical ones. And of course, this has contributed to one of the greatest humanitarian crises which is ongoing and we're seeing. And that raises the question, what are borders? Are they there to protect us? Or are they there, to divide us? Do they bring in new opportunities, or do they pose risks? And do refugees, do they integrate and do they contribute? Something I'd like to take you to. Born in Kabul, Afghanistan in the mid-80s, I vividly remember the sight of the heavenly green trees, the exhilarating smell of the red flowers, and the magical beauty of the mighty mountains that the whole country is full of. But we had to leave all that behind because of the ongoing Afghan-Soviet conflict. And that's when I first experienced my immigration journey, when we went to Pakistan. We landed in refugee camps scattered with tents. And like millions of other refugees, we were tested by the extreme of conditions, such as heat, various diseases, and the lack of basic social needs. However, the Pakistani people, the general public, they welcomed us warmly. They embraced us and they sheltered us from the ongoing conflict. They gave us access to healthcare, education, and other means. On the other hand, the Afghan refugees integrated quickly, but not only that, they started contributing. And they did so in various ways. For instance, by creating settlements that turned into towns which have now turned into big cities. By creating businesses such as garment, carpet, and others, which have helped turn cities like Kuwait and Peshawar in Pakistan to the beautiful cities they are now. And by contributing to the cross-border trade, which brought in billions of dollars. My father was an antique collector. He would go to different parts of Pakistan, to towns and villages, and he would collect some antiques, bring them back to the city center in Peshawar, as well as in Islamabad, to sell them to tourists. As a housewife looking after a big family, my mother would still contribute to the local community, consisted of refugees and Pakistanis, in whatever way she could. And the children, they would play with each other, regardless of where they were from, and despite having no toys. After staying for 3 years in the refugee camp, we went back to Kabul, Afghanistan, but unfortunately the dreadful civil war started, and that lasted for nearly a decade. And because of that, we experienced internal migration to different parts of Kabul city, where we used to live, but also we moved to other parts of the country in Afghanistan. But my most distant and my most life-changing experience happened when my parents sent me on my own to the UK, age 15. I landed in the UK with no family support, no formal education, and hardly any finances behind me. But I felt safe, and that's because I saw the warmth and the kindness that the British people showed me. And despite the fact that I didn't know what the future would hold for me, it was all dark, But I was excited because I saw numerous opportunities lying in front of me. And the magic was that I was allowed to see the opportunities and to gain them. But first of all, I had to work. I had to find a job to support myself as well as a big family back home. And my first boss was an Irish gentleman owning a grocery shop on Edgware Road in London. And it's in that shop when I started making friends. There was an Indian girl, one guy from Bangladesh, and another man from Sri Lanka. They helped transform me from the fresh-looking or somebody who's come fresh to the UK to sounding and acting like a cool London dude. In it, bruv. Besides working hard, I started studying, self-studying, and then went on to do A-levels in colleges because I always wanted to do more with my life. I was inspired to do something for myself and others. I gained 5 A's in AS A-levels, which helped me get into Cambridge University to study medicine. But as soon as I arrived, I was faced with all the academic challenges, the social and the financial that I'd never seen before, because I'd never studied. But I soon found help from many people around me. 2 most prominent of them, one was my English professor, the director of studies, and the other one was a Greek scientist, my personal tutor. They helped me succeed. I went on to complete my studies at Imperial College in London and was fortunate to get a scholarship to attend elective at Harvard. Of course, very exciting, going to Harvard. But I was nervous because I had an Afghani passport. I didn't know how would people perceive me when they realize I've come from Afghanistan, from a war-torn country. So there was an image already in my mind, an image of fear. But as soon as I landed in Boston to attend my elective at Massachusetts General Hospital, I saw the friendliness, I saw the warmth, and I saw the welcome. People took me around, they showed me around. And to my surprise, the 3 doctors that I was attached with in Massachusetts General Hospital, one was from Egypt, the attending physician, one was from Ireland, and the third one was from Germany. Between their accent and my British accent, I didn't learn much of the spoken words. But it taught me many practical skills. Then I went on to become a doctor back in the UK and started working in the National Health Service, NHS UK, which is one of the world's biggest organizations. And I soon realized that the strength of this big organization lies in diversity. When I could see people coming from different countries, that under one umbrella, to help people, to save lives, to save patients. I continued working in the NHS, and I soon turned my attention into philanthropy, because I always wanted to give back, and that's the reason why I was inspired to become a doctor in the first place. But I soon discovered that my biggest challenge was borders. I couldn't take people with me back to Afghanistan, Syria, or to other countries where they could help. And it took me 4 years to find out how I could overcome this challenge. And I did so by eliminating and removing borders altogether and creating a virtual system, a virtual telemedicine system, which is a network of volunteer specialists from all across the globe in several continents, Australia, Canada, America, UK, the rest of the Europe. And they give their free time on smartphones. They give specialist advice to medics in conflict zones such as Afghanistan, Syria, and other African countries to save lives. And soon a bigger picture emerged when we found out that it's actually not the life-saving effect, but it's much more to do than that, and that is the fact that it's bringing communities together in a peaceful way. And most probably, that's why when the international community recognizes with several awards, including the UNESCO Global Hope 2017, the Rotary International Peace Award 2018, and the UK's Points of Light Award. So I've just given a brief perspective of my take on the immigrants and their integration and contribution. But there are millions of other examples, we all know it, everywhere in every country. And of course, there are a handful of negative ones as well, like in any society. But the burning questions that we need to answer, the time has come that we need to face them. Do we filter humanity by shutting the doors on millions of refugees and immigrants who could be changing the world for good? One example of that being the global healthcare work that we do. Do we continue to see as observants the suffering of millions of refugees and immigrants, such as the elderly, the children, women who die on a daily basis? Or do we give them a chance and a hope the same way as I did, and which is why I'm here today? And for those of us who do receive that hope and that chance, do we create borders and limitations in our own mind what we can do? Or do we set our vision and our actions free to touch the sky and that there is no limitation? These are the questions for all of us. But the simple idea I wanted to share with you today is that we need to embrace and act on the reality that it's the human values, it's the basic human values that connect us, that help us integrate and help us cooperate and all together and help us in helping us to contribute to making this world a better place. Thank you very much.